The nation at large. And we're here to give a press briefing on leadership, security, citizens in Nigeria's electionary processes. It gives us great pleasure to speak on the state of the nation, which unfortunately has been characterized by insecurity, poverty in the midst of plenty, deteriorating education and healthcare, displacement, brain drains, etc. All of these have continued due to the challenge of leadership, not knowing how to manage human and material resources to deliver development for the citizens of the country. From the development literature for any country that wants to grow, the leaders or managers of the country's resources, in terms of human resources and natural resources, must focus on four cardinal areas, which are education, infrastructure, agriculture, and health. This is what makes a nation with developed human capital. The 2022 students of the African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development Center, LSD Set 17, are deeply concerned about the current situation in the country. And as a group, we wish to bring to fore critical issues that have negatively affected Nigeria and Nigerians and must no longer be neglected by the democratically elected leaders, especially as the 2023 general election draw near. One of which is insecurity. We note with great concern the worsening state of insecurity across the country, characterized by kidnapping, banditry, assassinations, among others. We also note the growing fear within the federal capital, arising from recent attacks in several parts of the city, as well as threats from unknown sources. As Nigeria launches from one violent conflict to another, the country's leaders and its international supporters become easily and perhaps understandably fixated on the latest manifestation of insecurity. The larger problem, however, is that none of this will ever change unless the focus turns more firmly and consistently to the thread that runs through all that upheaval, and which is the challenge of leadership and governance. Due to the challenge of leadership and bad governance, citizens are vital resources to the development of our nation, Nigeria, and are willingly leaving the country in droves and putting up their skills, knowledge, and potentials to be used by foreign countries to develop or grow their human capital index as well as their economies. As serious country and people, 2023 should not just be another general election. The administration of Nigeria at all levels must be entrusted into capable hands. Ethnic and religious sentiments must be eschewed. As the nations prepare for the 2023 general elections, we recommend that citizens should look out for candidates with the capacity to deal with the following issues. Agriculture. The candidate must ensure that there is adequate food security. Number two, infrastructure. The candidate that will provide infrastructure should not be the candidate that will borrow for infrastructure, yet not providing for it. Three, education, a vital component. The candidate that is passionate about education in both words and action. As a nation, we cannot continue with the incessant ASU strike that have continued to disrupt the aspirations and the dreams of our young people. Health. Number four, health. A candidate that knows value and is determined to provide quality health care for the citizens, not one who will seek health care services outside the shores of this country. Number five, security. A candidate that will ensure they tackle insecurity and ensure that there is security of lives and property The importance of security cannot be overemphasized, as this creates the bedrock for every other form of development to strive. What a privilege that today we are having this press briefing, that today marks World International Peace Day. It's a privilege to bring these issues to fore, to speak to our leaders and the citizens that we must, at all levels, ensure that peace is guaranteed. Across religious lines, we must ensure that peace, because if there is no peace, security will not be there. Insecurity in this nation has actually turned this nation into torment. There is no peace anywhere. We need to be supporters of the international organization, United Nations, claiming that today is World Peace Day. Without peace, whatever we want to do, even if we have the right candidates to give us these critical issues that we just mentioned, we can't get it. I want to let us know that peace is key, and the theme for today's International World Peace Day is End Racism, Build Peace. And the question is there racism in Nigeria? Yes, there's a micro dimension of racism in Nigeria. Ethnic bigotry is a form of racism. When some region wants to make it lord over other regions, it's a form of racism. We must end racism in this nation, and one of the ways we can do that is to ensure that there is peace across all borders. Taking the above premise on choosing the right leader, that we enthrone the right leadership for sustainable growth and development of the economy and good governance come 2023, we urge Nigerians to ensure they collect their permanent voters card and vote at various levels of elections: the presidency, the presidential election, governorship election, national assemblies, and the state assembly. And it will come to note that the PVC, like I will always say, is a provision to validate the candidacy of each political party. And it's a power that is given to us to enthrone the right form of leadership in this country. And to the citizens out there, they must make good use of that power that the state has given to them. That power is to validate the right candidate to lead us to where we all dream to be as a country. While we encourage all eligible citizens to participate in the coming elections to ensure that credible leaders are voted into power in 2023, we admonish citizens to shun electoral violence and acts that are capable of negating the essence of election, including the temptation of selling their vote before, during the polls, and strive for a peaceful, credible, and fair election. Finally, we hereby reiterate that while a nation cannot become a human capital without this four target area of education, agriculture, infrastructure, and health, all this cannot be achieved in the midst of insecurity. Additionally, citizens need to remember that their work does not end with voting, but regardless of who emerges, citizens in their communities of work, birth, and residence should hold all elected officials accountable by following up and ensuring all assigned responsibilities, projects, contracts, and budget allocation are fully completed. In the view of this, it is guaranteed that in the nearest future, the leaders represented here today, and by virtue of association with this project, and the Africa Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development, Center LSD, will represent a greater quota of leadership seats such as the President, Governors, Federal Ministry, members of the House of Representatives, and the Senators, to mention a few. Thank you very much.